Today on Public Eye News, a look ahead to the expected cicada emergence event in the Midwest, and later, updates on the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse in Baltimore.
Avis Ahoyan will have your look at the weather for the rest of the week, and I'll have a March Madness update in my Public Eye Sports Breakdown later on. I'm Luke Niddle.
And I'm Jackson Spencer, and this is Public Eye News. Starting today by looking ahead to spring, an unprecedented cicada emergence event is expected to occur. A double dose, when two broods of cicadas emerge together, is a rare occurrence out of the 15 groups that nest nationally. This spring, the broods in Georgia and Illinois, which only emerge every 13 and 17 years respectively, will come out simultaneously. Not to be confused with locusts, cicadas burrow out when the ground warms to 64 degrees, which is expected to occur earlier than usual this year due to climate change. This rare phenomenon could, however, pose risks to young trees and nurseries across the Southeast and Midwest, and will, of course, be very loud. And the company Tropicale Foods has voluntarily recalled some of its products due to a possible health risk. The products that are recalled are the Mexico Mini Cream Variety Pack with a best by date of 10/11/2025. The mango bars in the variety pack have the potential to contain salmonella, which can cause fever, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, and abdominal pain. In some rare circumstances, infection with salmonella can result in the organism getting into the bloodstream and causing a more severe illness, such as arterial infections, endocarditis, and arthritis. The product was distributed in 16 states, including Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, and here in Wisconsin and Michigan.
Representative Jack Bergman introduced the Michigan Sturgeon Protected and Exempt from Absurd Regulations Act, otherwise known as the Michigan Spear Act. The legislation would exempt Michigan region lake sturgeon from a potential upcoming federal designation that falls under the Endangered Species Act. Restoration of the lake sturgeon population has rapidly improved in the last 20 years, with the adult lake sturgeon populace doubling in Black Lake. Representative Bergman stated that a federal bill is now, quote, unnecessary for the sturgeon and would hinder efforts of conservation and coordination, end quote, and has claimed an endorsement from the Michigan DNR. If Representative Bergman's legislation passes, it would transfer authority of conservation of endangered species from federal designation back to the state and local level. And the Michigan DNR has announced that a field study covering vaccinations to protect deer from bovine tuberculosis is underway. The study is being conducted in Alpena County and is a collaborative effort between the Michigan DNR, Michigan State University, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service Wildlife Services, also known as the USDA-WS. Research would help protect deer from bovine tuberculosis, along with preventing the disease from spreading to other wildlife, livestock, and the general public. Bovine tuberculosis is an infectious and zoonotic strand which spreads between both humans and animals. Efforts to completely eradicate bovine tuberculosis over the last 30 years have been strong, but the disease rate in wild deer over the past decade has remained steady. For generations, it's been a destination for travelers on historic Route 66 through Illinois. It's the largest maple syrup farm in the state, but as CBS's Noel Brennan reports in tonight's Weekend Journal, the warm winter has impacted the sap season.
We're approaching my favorite time of year out here because all the plants are starting to come up.
Before spring sprouts, the spouts come out.
You get into a rhythm after a while.
Grace Springer pries them loose from tree after tree, signaling the end of syrup season in McLean County, Illinois.
We make maple syrup. It's pretty straightforward. So
Grace has been learning the ropes and the tubes at the historic Funk's Grove Pure Maple Syrup Farm.
I don't know the trees by name, but close.
Mike Funk steers the business that started generations ago, and he hopes to pass it down.
yeah, so Mike will eventually be my father-in-law. It's big shoes to fill, for sure.
And big challenges to face.
Definitely an obstacle.
In years past, the sap is still flowing through the tap in early March, but not this year.
Not our worst year, but pretty close.
You do the work to get ready and you don't know what you're going to get.
It's just disheartening.
It's becoming a familiar feeling.
Our seasons they seem to be getting shorter.
We know we have climate change and we just don't know down the road how that's going to affect us.
Maple trees need temperature swings for sap to flow,
Yeah, there's some sap in there.
but a warm winter can spoil a season.
Well, I think this is the warmest it's been in February.
Anticipating those warm temperatures, the Funks tapped trees early.
We tapped in January this year, which was our earliest ever, and we ended 4 or 5 days ago, which was our earliest ever.
Like sap, the Funks learn to go with the flow.
Be ready to adjust.
So we're just gonna have to adapt.
No customer will notice the difference.
Usually get a gallon every year.
The syrup is just as sweet, no matter how sour the season.
It's too special of a thing to not fight for moving forward, you know.
Noel Brennan, CBS News, McLean County, Illinois.
Now don't touch that dial. Ava Sahoyan will be right back with your weather forecast. A look to the clouds right after this break.
Coming up this season on Weekends with Yankee, adventurer Richard Weiss goes jack jumping,
That was fun for a first go.
explores a winter wonderland, and takes a llama for a walk in the woods. Yankee Magazine's senior food editor Amy Traverso follows in the footsteps of Julia Child,
Julia's favorite store.
makes pasta with Douglas Williams, and digs up a fall feast. All that and more coming up on this season of Weekends with Yankee.
Today at 5 on WNMU-TV.
Welcome back to Public Eye News. I'm Ava Sahoyan with the weather update for the day. Taking a look at NMU's roof cam, you can see we've got a pretty quiet day on campus. Only about one person out at the moment. Nice and sunny compared to earlier today. Looking across the UP, starting in Houghton, it is 39 degrees and partly cloudy. Down in Ironwood, you can see we've got some similar conditions. It's a little warmer. Iron Mountain, we've got some cloudier skies with a high of 44. Down on Lake Michigan in Menominee and Escanaba, we've got partly cloudy skies there, high of 37 and 41. Moving over to the eastern side of the UP, starting in Manistique, it is a little warmer today with sunny skies and a high of 40 degrees. Sault Ste. Marie, we are seeing 45 degrees, some cloudy skies. And then in beautiful Marquette, it is partly cloudy and 37 degrees. Looking further into current conditions, we've got winds out of the east-northeast at 11 miles an hour and a barometric pressure of about 30.12 inches and falling. Looking further into tonight, we're going to see a low of 32 degrees and winds out of the north-northeast at 4 miles an hour. Looking into tomorrow, we're going to start to see some snow showers, a high of 36, a low of 32, and the winds will pick up a bit at about northeast 15 miles an hour. Looking ahead into the week, going from Tuesday night to Thursday morning, we are expecting a winter weather advisory throughout all of the UP. We're going to see a high of 35, a low of 33. It's going to say about 36 to 31 on Thursday. That weather is going to break on Friday. We're going to see partly cloudy skies, a high of 37 and a low of 28. That's all I've got for your weather update. Back to the news desk.
Thank you, Ava, for that weather forecast. And on to some national stories. The U.S. Coast Guard has opened up a temporary route for vessels involved in the cleaning of debris at the site of the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. Officials said that the channel would have a controlling depth of 11 feet, a horizontal clearance of 264 feet, and a vertical clearance of 96 feet. Captain David O'Connell, the on-scene coordinator of the response, stated this marks an important first step along the road to reopening the Port of Baltimore. President Joe Biden will visit the site with local officials and get an on-ground look. Along with the alternate route being opened, the Small Business Administration opened 2 centers in the area to help companies get loans to assist them with the losses caused by the disruption of the bridge collapse. And an AT&T data breach leaked millions of customers' information online. A data set that was found on the dark web contains information on 7.6 million account holders and 65.4 million former account holders. The information that was found was social security numbers, email addresses, mailing addresses, phone numbers, dates of birth, and AT&T account numbers may have also been compromised. It is still unknown whether the data originated from AT&T or one of its vendors. The company noted that an investigation has been launched into the incident and the company has reset the passcodes of current users. The company added that it would pay for credit monitoring services where applicable. If you have been affected by this, expect an email or letter directly from AT&T about the incident. To protect your data going forward, try to use hard-to-guess passwords and use multi-factor authentication when possible. An allergy season has started to kick in, and so is hay fever. About 1 in 4 adults here in the U.S. suffers from the condition. Scientists in the U.K. say they found a better way to measure what's making people miserable. CBS's Ian Lee reports from London.
Spring is in the air, and so is misery for millions. Stopping to smell the flowers can lead to sneezing, watery eyes, or worse for London resident Alex Hill.
It's kind of like, it's like stuffy nose, sinuses, headaches, like nosebleeds.
Like most folks, he blames pollen.
When does allergy
But scientists at Imperial College London say that's not the whole picture.
The pollen counts, they're good and they can be associated with health outcomes, but once you account for the allergen levels, it's clear from the study that we did that it's the allergen levels that count.
Pollen carries allergens, which cause hay fever symptoms, and can be released at different times and in different amounts.
Knowing when the allergen levels themselves are going to be high can help people stay indoors when they need to, maybe take showers when they get home to rinse off some of the allergen that they might have been exposed to.
In this London lab, researchers are checking allergens on a small scale.
These are air filters, and these are placed inside air samplers, and ideally what we want to do is capture pollen allergen on them.
But no country in the world actively tracks allergen levels, as it's expensive and time-consuming.
And we feel that if we could incorporate regular monitoring of allergen levels, the forecasting would get better.
Helping people better navigate their hay fever during allergy season. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
And wait right there. After this short break, I'll have a look at your locked-in Frozen 4 and your Public Eye Sports Breakdown, coming up next.
Oh, tierra del sol, suspiro por verte.
Una vez que dejes tu casa, tierras ajenas, es muy difícil.
Y ahora que lejos me encuentro sin luz, sin amor.
Cuando ya no los tiene uno, con el alma quisiera uno que sea verlos.
1,000 Pines, April 1st at 10 p.m. on PBS and the PBS app.
Welcome back to Public Eye Sports. Once again, I'm your host, Luke Niddle, and I'll be taking you through our Monday breakdown. The Frozen Four is officially locked in, with 4 excellent collegiate programs booking their tickets to St. Paul after a thrilling slate of games. Some are hoping for the Battle of Commonwealth Avenue in the National Championship, as both Boston College and Boston University have rolled through the competition. But the number 1 seeded Eagles must first take on the Michigan Wolverines, who are coming off a massive upset over rival Michigan State. In the other matchup, Boston University will battle the University of Denver Pioneers. Denver has scraped by in the tournament thus far, limping by UMass 2-1 in double OT in their first game and sneaking past Cornell 2-1 in their second tournament game. As for the Boston Terriers, they've rolled through the competition, beating both RIT and Minnesota by a score of 6-3. Keeping it to Final Fours, the NCAA March Madness Final Four preview is here and is equally as exciting. NC State's Cinderella run looks more than likely to be coming to an end, as they have the tall task of facing the number 1 seed Purdue Boilermakers. Purdue and Zach Edey have more than made up for an abysmal 2023 tournament with a Final Four appearance this year and are pulling to close out with a natty. As for the other matchup, the Alabama Crimson Tide will battle the juggernaut that is UConn. The Huskies steamrolled Illinois in the Elite Eight 77-52 and opened up the second half with an unbelievable 30-0 run. As for Bama, they have an impressive 2024 tourney resume up to this point, knocking out number 1 seed UNC in the Sweet 16, but only time will tell if they could shock the world again. Meanwhile, in the women's bracket, March Madness is flaming hot with a thrilling finale to the Elite Eight in the queue. A 2023 National Championship rematch is slated between Iowa and LSU tonight, which will prove to be one of the most exciting tournament games thus far. Caitlin Clark and the Hawkeyes have mowed through their opponents, with Clark averaging 31.8 points and 10 assists per game in the tournament. As for the Tigers, Angel Reese has spearheaded a fiery squad throughout the whole 2023-24 campaign. Reese and her teammates have also wrecked the competition, scoring at least 70 points in their first 3 tournament games.
And that is all the time we have today for Public Eye News. Thank you for watching. I'm Jackson Spencer.
And I'm Luke Middle. And we'll see you tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.
Thanks for watching Public Eye News. You can subscribe to our YouTube, tune into WNMU Channel 13 every weekday at 4, or follow our Instagram at NMU Penn to never miss a story.